Your cat climbs onto you, or onto something soft nearby and starts pressing their paws in alternating rhythm. Left, right, sometimes with claws, sometimes without, sometimes with their eyes half closed, sometimes with a distant expression that suggests they have gone somewhere else entirely. They might drool slightly, they might purr, they might continue for longer than seems necessary. You've seen this, you've probably felt it. And if you've had a cat long enough, you've also noticed that it seems to happen in particular moments. When they are settling, when they are near you, when something about the situation has tipped them into a state that calls for this specific, rhythmic, ancient-looking behaviour. Most people know the basic explanation. Kneading is a kitten behaviour left over from nursing. Kittens knead their mother's belly to stimulate milk flow, and the behaviour persists into adulthood because, well, the usual explanation trails off here or offers something vague about comfort and habit. And that explanation is not wrong, but it is so incomplete that it leaves the most important parts out entirely. What your cat is actually doing when they need you is several things at once, and understanding all of them changes what it feels like to be on the receiving end of those paws. The first layer is the one most people have heard. Kneading begins in kittenhood as a functional behaviour. The rhythmic pressing of the paws against the mother's mammary glands stimulates the release of milk. Kittens who knead more effectively nurse more successfully. The behaviour is reinforced from the very first days of life, associated from the beginning with warmth, nourishment, safety, and the presence of the one creature in the world who provides everything. What gets less attention is what happens to this association as the cat grows. The behaviour persists in adult cats not as a malfunction or a developmental leftover, but as a retrieval system. When a cat needs, they are reaccessing a state, the neurological and emotional state of being completely safe, completely provided for, completely at ease in the presence of something that will not harm them. It is not that they think they are a kitten again, it is that their body knows how to return to that state, and kneading is the gesture that takes them there. When your cat needs you, you are the surface they have chosen for this return. You are the place they go to access the state of complete safety. The choice of you, rather than a blanket, rather than a cushion, rather than an empty piece of floor, is not incidental. It is the content of what the behaviour is saying. Your cat is reading you constantly. Your scent, your posture, your emotional state, the micro-expressions your face makes when you think no one is watching. They build a detailed model of you, and most owners never realise how complete that model is. I put together a guide covering exactly that layer, the signals cats send and the signals they read from you, that most people never learn to recognise. It's called What Your Cat is Hiding, and the link is in the description. If you've ever felt like your cat understands you on a level you can't fully explain, that guide is going to show you why that feeling is more accurate than you think. There's a second layer to kneading that the kitten explanation doesn't capture, and it's the one that tends to shift how people understand the gesture entirely. Kneading, like the headbutt, activates the scent glands. Cats have scent glands in their paw pads, and the rhythmic pressing of kneading deposits scent onto the surface being kneaded. When your cat needs you, they are scent marking you in the same way they mark their territory through scratching, leaving a chemical signature on something that matters to them. The kneading is not only a comfort behaviour, it is also a claiming behaviour. The surface being kneaded is being incorporated into the cat's world, being marked as something that belongs to the space of what is theirs. This is why cats often need the people they are most bonded to, the objects they sleep on most frequently, the surfaces that have become most associated with comfort and safety. They are marking what matters. They are layering their scent onto the things and beings that are part of their world in the deepest sense. When your cat needs you, they are simultaneously returning to a state of complete safety and marking you as part of the territory where that safety lives. You are both the surface and the destination. You are the place they go to feel most themselves, and they are leaving something of themselves on you as they do it. The drooling that sometimes accompanies kneading is part of this. It is a physiological response to the deep comfort state the behavior produces. The same kind of involuntary relaxation that humans experience in certain states of deep ease. A cat that drools while kneading has gone very far into comfort. It is not a sign of something wrong. It is a sign that the behavior is doing exactly what it is designed to do, and that the presence of the person being kneaded has contributed to the depth of that state. The eyes half closed, absent expression that accompanies kneading is similarly telling. Cats who are alert, who are scanning their environment, who are in any way uncertain about their situation, do not knead. The behavior requires a specific kind of settled internal state, one in which the cat has assessed everything around them and concluded that there is nothing to monitor, nothing to prepare for, nothing that requires their attention. The vacancy of expression in a kneading cat is the expression of a creature that has fully released its vigilance. That they do this on you, or next to you, or in a room you are in, that is its own kind of statement. There is something specific in the choice of who gets kneaded. Not all cats knead all surfaces equally. Many cats have preferred kneading locations and preferred kneading recipients, and the people who get kneaded on most consistently are, unsurprisingly, the people the cat is most bonded to. The kneading is not random. The direction of it reflects something the cat has assessed about the relationship, about where safety lives in their world, about who they have decided is the place they go to feel most completely at ease. If you are someone your cat kneads on, you are someone they have identified as a source of the deepest comfort available to them. Not comfort in the superficial sense, not merely pleasant or familiar. Comfort in the oldest sense, the sense that takes them back to the beginning of everything, to the first warmth they knew, to the state before any wariness or caution or self-protection existed in them. That is not a small thing to be. That is, in the emotional vocabulary of a cat, about as significant as it gets. Next time your cat settles onto you and starts that familiar rhythm, let them. Not because you need to, but because you now know what it means. You are the safe place. You are where they go when they want to feel the way they felt before the world had edges, and they have chosen you for that, specifically, out of everything available to them. Tell me in the comments, does your cat knead? Do they prefer you or something else? Do they drool? Do they purr? Do they get that faraway expression? I want to hear the specific details because I think what people describe about kneading says something about these bonds that we don't say often enough, and it deserves to be said out loud. There's one more dimension to kneading that most people have never considered, and it explains something that often puzzles cat owners. Why do cats sometimes knead before they lie down, even when they're not on a person? The answer is evolutionary. Wild cats kneaded grass and vegetation before resting. The pressing of the paws created a flatter, more comfortable surface, checked for hidden hazards underneath, and released the plant scents that helped mask the cat's own scent from predators. The kneading before lying down is a preparation ritual, an inherited behavior from ancestors who needed to do it for practical reasons. The domestic cat doing it on a couch cushion or a lap is running the same ancient program, adapted to a different context. But here is what that context tells us. When a cat kneads before settling on you, they're treating you as the place where they're going to rest, not just sit, rest. The kneading before lying down is a signal of intention. I am going to be here for a while. I have decided this is where I'm spending this time. The preparation of the surface is preparation for something more than a passing presence. They are nesting. Being nested on is different from being sat on, different from being walked across, different from the brief contact of a passing cat. It is the deliberate decision to spend time in a specific place with a specific person, with enough commitment to prepare the surface for the duration. The kneading is the preparation. The lying down that follows is the conclusion, You are where I am choosing to be. The full picture of kneading, then, is this: a behavior that began as survival, that evolved into comfort, that activates the same neurological state as the most profound safety a cat has ever known, that marks the surface and the person as belonging to the world where safety lives, and that sometimes precedes the decision to stay. All of it, every layer of it, directed at you. They need you because you're safe. They mark you because you belong to their world. They stay because they have chosen to. And the rhythm of those paws, left, right, is the oldest language any of this has. The rhythm itself is worth a moment. Left, right, left, right. The alternating pattern is not arbitrary. It matches the pattern of nursing, where kittens press each paw in alternation against the mother's body. The rhythm is so deeply encoded that adult cats reproduce it without variation, even decades after they last nursed, even when there is no functional reason for the alternation. The body remembers what it learned first. The rhythm is the memory. There is something in that, the persistence of the earliest physical memory, the body returning to the pattern it learned in the first days of life, that tends to stay with people once they think about it. Your cat is doing something in your presence that reaches all the way back to the beginning of their existence, the warmth they felt then, and the safety, and the presence of something that provided everything. That is the state they are returning to when they need you. You are not just a comfortable surface. You are the place that holds the oldest safety they know. People who have had cats for a long time often describe kneading as one of the most intimate things their cat does. Not the most dramatic, not the loudest expression of bond or the most legible, but the most intimate in the specific sense of this is something they do when they have fully arrived at ease, when every layer of assessment and caution has been set aside, when there is nothing between them and the pure state of being completely at rest in your presence. To be the surface on which a cat needs is to be someone they have brought all the way down to that. Someone who makes the oldest safety feel accessible again. Someone in whose presence the body knows how to return to the first warmth it ever felt. That is what your cat is actually doing when they need you. Not a habit, not a leftover. A return in the oldest language available to them, to the place where everything began. And a decision made again in this moment that you are where that place lives.